ISUPK.
Shalom, Israel. Yahweh Yahweh Shemal Athabah to the sisters. This is priest and officer not designed to shine the state of Virginia here. I.S.U.P.K down here in Norfolk, Virginia. You understand? We not only in Norfolk, you understand? You in Hampton, you in Chesapeake, you in Norfolk, you in Richmond. You understand? You anywhere in the state of Virginia, you call a number, get in contact with this school, man. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are God's chosen people. You understand? You in Staunton, you in Lexington, you in Leesburg, Alexandria, Woodbridge, Arlington, Virginia Beach, Princess Anne, Williamsburg. You understand? If you Black, Hispanic, or Native American, Tappahannock, you call in, man, you get off in this school. Get in here, you understand? Today we're going to teach. We're going to teach the truth about what's in the Bible. We the I.S.U.P.K. We started out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. We're not affiliated with any other Hebrew Israelite groups. We're not affiliated with any mosque, any church, nobody. We serve the Most High, and Christ is the only thing we affiliated with. You understand? Most High, Christ, angels, the powers, we serve the Lord. We ain't cutting no corners, we ain't making no deals, we ain't doing none of that. You understand? So today we're going to get into something that's very important that our people desperately need to learn, especially Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, Black people. You understand? When we say Black people, of course, in the UPK, we're referring to Hispanics and Native Americans as well. They are every bit and just as much of Black people as a so-called Afro-American or West Indian or Haitian, which would be readily known or recognized as a Negro. You understand? They live in the exact same life that we are living in a different language. You understand? That's all. We got the same oppressor, the same slave master. We're going to get into it today is why Jesus Christ being Black matters. Christians love to say this all the time. Race doesn't matter. Race doesn't matter. Why are you talking about that? We're in a post-racial era. You understand? The post-Obama era. Well, contrary to what you've been taught your entire life, race matters. It's on your job. When you want to get a loan from the bank, you want to get a job, you want to go to school, they're asking you this for a reason. You understand? Economics is based on race. Your history of what people you are in the earth is based on race. Everything about you, your language, your culture, your food, your heritage is based on race. The only one people that do not believe your nation matters is the people who do not know what their nationality is, which is these lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel, so-called Blacks, Hispanics, or Native Americans. You understand? And today we're going to get into this, why the nationality or the race of Jesus Christ matters. Why does it matter that he is a Black man? You understand? To the earth, Jesus Christ is a white man. Jesus Christ, you have the picture, your grandmother has the picture next to JFK and Martin Luther King and now Barack Obama, some picture of some half-naked Caucasian man, some slave master with sandy brown hair and blue eyes with light shining over his head, looking like a beach boy. That is not Jesus Christ described in this Bible. You understand? That entire lie is what has infected our people. We were taught that during slavery. The Bible does not support that Jesus Christ is a so-called white man, a Caucasian. You understand? That's nowhere in the Bible. We're going to get the truth about the Bible and tell you this. It very much matters who Jesus Christ is and who the people of Jesus Christ are, so that these lost people that the Bible is talking about can recover their identity. And the only way that black people are going to find out who they are is if they find out what nationality Jesus Christ is. You understand? If you are a black man, we are the people of Jesus Christ. Not all people, not all the boys and girls and children of the world, not the Asians, Arabs, Africans, not the Caucasians, not the Polynesians or the East Indians or the Middle Easterns. Our people, so-called Negroes, West Indians, Haitians, so-called Hispanics, Native Americans, all the descendants of the natives of North, South, and Central America and the slave trade, we are the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And Jesus Christ is a black man that came to save his black people. This isn't about skin color. This isn't about whether your nose is wide or straight. This isn't about whether your hair is curly or straight. This isn't about if you are dark skin or light skin or fair skin or very pale. This isn't about any of that. It's not about skin color. It's about the seed of your father. You understand? Seeds reproduce itself. The entire Bible is metaphors about farming, because that was one of our major trades that we did. We're going to get some of our records of what we did when we were in Africa. We're going to get our records in the scriptures here as well to show that not only is Jesus Christ a black man and not a white man, but it matters why Jesus Christ is a black man. Give me that first scripture, Matthew 1 and 21.
Matthew chapter 1, verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son.
This was a prophecy. This she is talking about Mary. The angel is speaking to Joseph. Joseph was a brother, a black man in the ghetto of Nazareth, a horrible, crime-infested, poverty-stricken place where he was trying to raise a family in the ghetto. You understand? He got his young girl, young woman, married. They weren't married. They did not have a formal marriage ceremony. They were married because sex is marriage, which is how Mary got pregnant. That's why it says she's going to have a son. For the Christians, I know they don't teach you this, but sex is how you make babies. Sex is marriage, and if you have sex, you could get pregnant. That's how it happens. Most Christians, the first time that you hear or learn this, being a Christian your whole life, is when you get someone pregnant. That's the first time you realize sex makes you pregnant. That's how it happened with Jesus as well. Keep going.
And thou shalt call his name Jesus.
You're going to call this baby's name Jesus, meaning Yahweh, meaning the Lord's salvation. That's what Jesus means in the Hebrew. That is our language. It is Yahweh, not Yahushua, not Yehoshua, not Yahushi, none of that Yiddish nonsense that you are learning from our slave masters, because you refuse to humble yourself and get into I.S.U.P.K. so you can actually learn how to speak, read, write Hebrew. His name is going to be Yahweh. Keep going.
For
meaning this is the reason why he's going to be named Yahweh. Keep going.
Shall save.
Shall do what?
Shall save.
This is the mission of this baby. He's supposed to do something. He isn't just born just to live life and go to work and everything. There's a purpose for him. All of these things matter in this breakdown. Keep going.
Shall save his people.
He's going to save all people.
His people.
He's going to save everybody on the world.
His people.
His is a possessive pronoun. That means it's showing ownership. Meaning Jesus Christ is coming. His whole purpose for his name, for him being born, for Mary having this baby boy put inside of her, for the angel explaining to Joseph what his son is going to do. He's giving him the sex of the baby, the name of the baby, the purpose of the baby. This is the reason why he's going to save his people, not all people. This is the mission from straight out the gate. His people, keep going,
from their sins.
From their sins. There is another possessive pronoun. If I say this is his car, and then someone else comes and drives away with his car, you stole it. Right. If I say this is our mail, and then somebody else comes and steals our mail, they stole it. Right. General SHALAM would always say this. He said that it's something, it's a trick that our slave master does on us in school. that right around middle school, that we forget basic reading comprehension. And Christianity is famous for this, to where we will start ignoring the actual definitions of the words that we're reading just to go along with everything. Because most of what we are taught as a people is an absolute lie to keep us asleep from knowing that the race of Jesus Christ matters and your race matters.
All right.
Any more on that?
No, sir.
All right. Why does it matter Jesus Christ is black? Give me Jeremiah 14:2. Why does it matter? Why does your race matter? You understand? Go and ask the child. This is how disrespectful and how our lives as a people mean and are counted for nothing in the earth. You would never go to a Jewish man and tell him to go and join the Germans, because you respect the history of what the Jews, the Jewish man, because the real Jews are black people, which we get ready to get in the scripture, of the Jewish and the German dealings with each other. You respect that.
Right.
You would never say a Kurd, some Arab Kurds, and the Sunni and the Shia. You would honor and respect that. You would not call the Sri Lankans East Indians. You would respect the division and the differences between India and Pakistan. You would respect the difference between the Chinese and the Japanese. You would respect the difference between the Frenchman and the man from Spain, the white man from Spain, the Caucasian from Spain, between the Dutch oppressor and the Belgian oppressor, between the Italian, between the American. You would respect someone whose life matters to you. You would respect the difference between an Ethiopian and a Somalian, between a Sudanese and a Malawian. You would respect the difference between Nigeria and Cameroon, between Senegal, between Gabon. You would respect that because these people's life means something to you. But when it comes to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you have no respect for our lives, and you say that our race doesn't matter. Our nationality doesn't matter. You can name us whatever you want. This is why it matters what nationality Jesus Christ is. Keep going.
Jeremiah chapter 14, verse 2.
He came to save his people from their sins. Let's get some more.
Judah mourneth.
The Lord said what?
Judah mourneth.
The Lord said that the real Jews are in continual mourning. They don't own the Diamond District. They don't own Hollywood. They're not in Jerusalem. They're not in the land with bombs and missiles and their own government and military getting billions of dollars of aid from America. The real Jews are starving to death in the ghetto. They have herpes and AIDS in the Hampton Roads area and in DC and Atlanta. They're in INS detention centers, you understand? They're in communities that are being gentrified, like St. Paul's Boulevard, and they're being forced to move. Their rent has doubled. The price of food has doubled. They're being told to abort their babies. They're in neighborhoods where our people are strung out on drugs and shooting and killing and murdering each other. Our families are destroyed. What did the Lord say?
Judah mourneth.
The real Jews are in mourning because their slave master comes to their apartment like Amber Geiger did to Botham Jean and murders them in their living room because their slave master's son, Dylan Roof, goes into their church on Wednesday Bible study and kills grandma in front of the grandchild and 9 other people because they'll shoot up a church, or they'll go into Walmart with an AK-47 and just shoot whoever they can see, blacks and Hispanics, of course. The real Jews are in mourning. They've lost their identity. They've lost their land. They've been put into slavery. They're on reservation. This is why it matters who the people Jesus Christ is coming to save. The Jews, which Jesus Christ was a Jew, everybody knows that, are in continual suffering and mourning. Keep going.
And the gates thereof languish.
The gates thereof languish. What is a gate for? You put a gate around your house to protect it. You put a gate around your house so that that gate can do what? Keep what's inside safe. It sets boundaries. You know that you can't have what's on the other side of this gate without consequence. Well, the gates are our protection. And the protection for blacks, Hispanics, and Native American is what?
And the gates thereof languish.
Because we have weak protection. We have Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and civil rights leaders and NAACP. We have black judges that feel sympathy for our slave master's daughter when she murders one of us. Ain't that right, Raj?
Right.
You understand? We have, our protection is weak. It can't fix our problems. It can't stop us from murdering each other. That's why you need new leaders.
That's right.
You need the shepherds the Lord set up. Not these preachers and pastors and civil rights leaders in the NAACP. Not a judge. Black judges don't care about dead black men.
Right.
Black judges love Amber Geiger.
Right.
You understand? Not black police officers, because the black police officer, he has a code to maintain so that when they break Freddie Gray's back in Baltimore, he's the black face that goes on trial first so that the white officers can be let go.
Right.
You understand? He's the token that they're going to hang up in Ferguson, Missouri after that officer executes Mike Brown with his hands up in the middle of the street. They're going to shoot him 15 times in broad daylight while he surrenders. You understand?
Right.
They're going to show the one black face there to say, see, this ain't about race. That's why race is important. That's why your nationality, your ethnic identity, black man, Hispanic, Native American, is so very important because it's tied to Jesus Christ.
Right.
Our slave master is not tied to Christ. The Arabs, the Africans, the East Indians, they are not tied to Jesus Christ. You are. And because of it, you need to learn this. Keep going.
They are black.
The real Jews are what?
They are black.
I thought color doesn't matter. What did God say?
They are black.
I thought color wasn't in the Bible. What?
They are black.
Read that. Spell that.
B-L-A-C-K.
God said the real Jews in the Bible are black. You understand? Black how?
Unto the ground.
Unto the ground. Meaning when you dig up the ground, you get different shades of what? Not black. You get different shades of brown.
That's right.
That's what black means. Because the black people that everybody knows is black, you're not black like a pair of tennis shoes.
Right.
You're not black like the concrete. I mean, black like the, what is that? The asphalt that you drive on the blacktop. You are black as in brown. Because the Bible is written in slang. That's how black people talk. You
Right.
understand? Different shades of brown, like a light sandy brown, a golden brown, a high yellow brown, a tan brown, a clay reddish brown. You understand? We've always come in all different shades. Because your light skin does not mean that you are mixed with your slave master.
Right.
That is another myth that came from slavery. You understand?
Right.
You are the seed of your father. You understand? Whether you're dark skin or light skin. Bob Marley is a dark skinned white man who comes from Nestor Marley. He's not a black man. None of Bob Marley's children, not the light-skinned ones like Julian and Damian Marley, or the dark-skinned ones like Ziggy Marley and Stephen Marley.
Right.
All of them are Caucasians
Right.
because of the seed of their father, who is Bob Marley, who's the seed of a white man, who is Nestor Marley. It is not about skin color. You understand? Christianity taught you about skin color because your slave masters sold us by skin color.
Right.
All of this is identifying Jesus Christ and his people. Keep reading any more on that.
And the cry of Jerusalem is gone up.
The cry of all of the murder and suffering and poverty and oppression of blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans is reaching the Lord now.
That's right.
As we turn back more and more to the Lord, it's reaching the Lord now. Give me Jeremiah 17:4.
Jeremiah chapter 17 verse 4. And thou, even thyself,
Go ahead.
shall discontinue from thine heritage.
This is why it's important that Jesus Christ is a black man. Our people have lost their heritage. We've discontinued from our heritage because we went into slavery. That's why we became Muslims and Christians. That's why we started smoking weed and wanted to be a gangster and shooting heroin and smoking crack and getting tattoos and getting shape-ups and shaving your head and your face and being lesbians and homosexuals and cross-dressers and being Christians, you understand, and Muslims and Democrats and Republicans. Because as a race of people, you have no idea what your heritage is.
Right.
You have no idea what the customs of your forefathers were, because our people are the only people on the planet that have had their identity wiped out.
Right.
This is a prophecy in the Bible. It says that the Jews were in mourning, and we had weak leadership with no protection, and we've lost the heritage that, keep reading,
that I gave thee.
that the heritage we have comes from the Lord.
That's right.
Meaning our heritage is not just anything. It isn't just Buddha or some statue or dog or beetle or whatever customs or culture you decide to pick up. You are not allowed to choose what culture you want to be.
Right.
Your heritage comes from the Lord. Our people, we are God's chosen people. We don't have the option to go and be something else.
Right.
You understand? Keep going.
And I will cause thee to serve thy enemies.
The Lord said we would serve our enemies. Serve who?
Thine enemies.
That's how we became Muslims like the Arabs. What?
Thine enemies.
That's how we became Christians like our slave master. Who?
Thine enemies.
That's how we ended up taking on the god of smoking weed, which is Shiva, like the East Indians.
Thine enemies.
That's how we ended up taking on Buddhism from the Asians. What?
Thine enemies.
That's how we ended up following Egypt and the customs of the Egyptians and the scarab beetle and Isis and Horus and Ra and Osiris.
Thine enemies.
The Lord said we would serve our enemies. Keep reading.
In the land which thou knowest not.
We were going to serve them in a land we didn't know, because we were going to go into slavery. And in that land, we would be forced to serve another nation of people. You were never supposed to join another nation of people.
Right.
The only reason that they are around you is because you are in slavery.
Right.
You understand? You were in captivity. We're in captivity.
That's right.
That's the only reason you see a Chinese or an Arab or an East Indian or a Nigerian or an Ethiopian. You would never see them.
That's right.
They belong in their land. The only reason you see them is because you were taken from your land. We were taken from our land.
Right.
We ran for our lives into Africa, running from the Romans. And in Africa, we were fighting the Africans the entire time,
That's
which
right.
is what we're going to get here in the records. Take me now, any more on that?
For ye have kindled a fire in mine anger.
We made the Lord angry by serving other gods. Every time we take the customs of another nation, where we go and become Muslims and Christians and Democrats and Republicans, and we go and smoke weed and vote and celebrate these holidays, we are taking the customs of another nation. And that angers the Lord, which causes his anger to come down on us. And that's why we get shot. That's why our children get killed and kidnapped. That's why we're being molested and murdered. That's why we're dying of drug overdoses and addictions and depression.
Right.
And all kinds of cancer and AIDS. Because we've taken the culture of other nations of people. That's why it matters that Jesus came to save his people from their sins, from what they are doing wrong. A sin is breaking God's law.
That's right.
And the laws of God were only given to our people. You understand? That's Psalms 147, 19 and 20.
Right.
And the Lord said in Amos chapter 3, 1 and 2, that he only deals with Israel. And because he gave his laws to us, he would punish us above all people on the face of the earth. He would punish us 7 times more. That's why if you're a black man and you commit a murderer, you get 9 life sentences like the 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods here in Hampton. But if you're Amber Geiger and you commit a murder, you get 10 years and a hug from the judge, and the bailiff strokes your hair.
Right.
You understand?
Which shall burn forever.
The Lord said it's going to burn forever, meaning we're going to be under this oppression for a long time. And the Lord's anger has been on our people, and we need to turn back to him, which is what the I.S.U.P.K is here to do, to teach our people how to turn back to the Lord. You understand? You can't just go to a church or wherever you think or whatever you like and follow whatever you believe in. That is against the Lord. You're not allowed to choose your own leader or vote or decide who you want to follow or who you like better. All of that is sins. That's just as bad as eating pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. Those are sins. You commanded to follow the man that God set up, which is Commander GEN.YAHANNA. And if you're following someone else, and you go to some church or some fake Israelite group,
Right.
they're going to marry you to these Hamites, like the IUIC did to Joy Morgan, that got Joy Morgan killed and none of them gave a damn about it.
That's right.
Just like the church, where you go to, where everyone keeps going to church, knowing Eddie Long is molesting the children, knowing that the Pope and the priest is having sex with little boys and girls and absolutely destroying everyone, you're still going to church.
That's right.
Black people are still going, grandma's still in there in her usher uniform and the white gloves, still wearing the big hat, fully knowing that this Christianity is destroying our people. You understand? Because the horrible leadership we have over us allows this to happen. The man's in the river. That's why Moses had to be put in a basket and ended up in Pharaoh's house. The Egyptian army was slaughtering our toddlers. Imagine going through a daycare and just picking up all the black and Hispanic babies you find, and they just killed all of our babies, all of our toddlers. That's what they did to us. You understand? And you want to go and take the culture of these Egyptians and wear Horus and Isis and Ra like it was something great and wonderful for our people, man. They had us in slavery in Egypt, just like here in America. Keep going.
Fleeing from Roman persecution.
We ran. Keep going.
And slavery.
And what?
And slavery.
And what?
And slavery.
We were running from slavery. You understand? They had been putting our people in slavery. That's why we ran into Africa. Any more on that? Keep going.
The slave markets.
The slave markets, it didn't just start on the west coast of Africa. They had already been enslaving our people. Keep going.
Were full
to capacity. Keep going.
Of black.
Of what?
Of black.
Of Negro. Of what?
Of black.
Of Haitians. What?
Of black.
West Indians. What?
Of black.
All people.
Of black.
Of Asians.
Of black.
Race doesn't matter.
Of black.
Of what?
Of black.
Of black what?
Jewish slaves.
The actual Jews went into slavery. These were black people. That's why we ran into Africa. Now give me that other scripture. Give me the other one I asked for, verse 90.
Babylon 10 book 2, page 90.
Give me just a second. This is where Christ prophesied that this would happen. Luke chapter 21 and verse 20 says, "And when ye see Jerusalem compassed with armies," which is what we just read, and from Babylon to Timbuktu. This is actual historical factual data for all you Christians and you Old Testament Israelites trying to say that the Bible is not real and none of this ever happened. This is actual historical accounts of what happened. You understand? Pompeii existed, Julius existed, the 70 AD destruction existed. All of this is historical records. The one thing they don't tell you about it in history is that these was niggas that this was happening to.
That's right.
They don't tell you that. You understand? Christ said, "And when ye shall see Jerusalem compassed with armies, then know that the desolation thereof is not," meaning it's going to be wiped out, which is what we just read it happened. Verse 21, Luke 21 and 21 says, "Then let them which are in Judea flee to the mountains, run for your life." That's what we did. We ran into Africa. "And let them which are in the midst of it depart out, and let not them that are in the countries enter hitherto." Meaning, don't come back in. You understand? Don't come back in. If you outside of the city, don't come back in the city. It's over. Run. You understand? How often has this happened to black people? How often have we had to flee for our lives running from the white man? Rosewood, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Lincoln, Nebraska. You understand? Harlem, New York. Where else? Centers of trade and business we've always set up. Our slave master and these heathens have always came and destroyed it so that they can put us in slavery, because that's how they get rich. That's how they built America. Verse 22, "For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled." You understand? This is what it's saying. That's what it's talking about. It says here, "Woe to them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days." Woe to you, you breastfeed, man. You slow, you just had this baby, you got these newborns, you want to run with your life, man. It's going to be hell for you. Christ is prophesying what we are reading about in From Babylon to Timbuktu. "For there shall be great distress in the land, and wrath upon this people." It said many outrages and atrocities were committed. This is what Christ is talking about. Verse 24, "And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and shall be led away captive into all nations. And Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. That is to this very day. That's why the Arabs are living in our land. The Jewish man is there. The Syrian, the Greek and Turk babies, all of those people are living in our lands. Or what was left of it by this time, all of that is our land. And World War III is going to remove them from our land. And then after World War III jumps off, it's going to be thermonuclear war, and Christ is going to return and evict everyone from our land. You understand?
Right.
This is why your race matters. Salvation is not for all people. Christ came to save his people from their sins. His people meaning blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Everyone else is going into slavery. You understand? Now let's get some more back what we were doing in Africa. Go ahead.
From Babylon to Timbuktu, page 90, first paragraph. By what factors can we explain the emergence of black Hebrew hegemony and leadership over the indigenous tribes?
We had better and more established leadership and power over the Africans where we went there. Keep reading.
The answer is simple.
It was very simple. Just like it's simple today for you to see how outmatched every nation of people is as compared to black people. How outmatched actual ethnic Africans are to black people. The Ethiopian, the Sudanese, the Nigerian, the Somalian, all of them, they cannot outdance black children. You can't outsing Beyonce and Whitney Houston and Aretha Franklin and Mary J. Blige. You can't outperform Rihanna. You can't outsing, outrap, outact, outdance. You couldn't do anything as compared to us. You think so? Why is the NFL not filled with Africans?
Right.
Why aren't there African basketball leagues where they dunk a basketball over a car like Kobe Bryant, like Michael Jordan? Why aren't they playing football? They're the original man, they like to say, right? How come they're not the UFC, ruling all over the UFC and boxing and all the sports? Because the Lord made one people superior to everyone else. That's what this is saying. We ran for our lives into Africa, and amongst the Africans, keep reading.
The Jews came into the western Sudan from northern and eastern Africa.
We came to the west of Sudan, from north and eastern Africa. You understand? Of course, the so-called white man has put different lines. Our slave master has put lines to make Somalia and all of these other countries there, which did not exist at the time when we left in 70 AD. Keep going.
As a result of a chain of commercial and persecutory migrations.
We were running for our lives. We were being chased and hunted in Africa and in the Middle East where we just ran from. We did not join with the Africans. They did not like us. They didn't love us. You understand? Just like they don't love us today. We're not the same people. We came from our land and ran for our lives to hide amongst a dark-skinned people. Keep going.
The Jews had settled among the most civilized people throughout the ages.
We settled amongst the civilized, the most civilized of their people. That didn't mean that they were civilized. We settled among them because it was their land. That didn't mean we joined them. Keep going.
They adopted new methods from other people.
And then we started to take on their cultures. You understand? Which the Lord had forbidden us to do. We took on more of the heathen cultures, but we still had pieces of our culture because we recognized that we were not the same as them. Keep going.
And left their material, educational, and moral imprint among the people with whom they resided.
And when we stayed with these Africans, we left our moral imprint, our codes, our laws, our records, our ethics that we got from these laws, statutes, and commandments that the Lord gave us in the Bible. We left our culture with them, and it made them better. It made them more civilized. It put more structure into their society, into their education, into their day-to-day lives, just like we did for our slave master here. We taught them how to bathe. We watched their kids. We washed. We built roads and bridges for them. We farmed their crops. We made them rich. We civilized these people everywhere we go and reap none of the benefits from it. Keep reading.
For many centuries.
Many what?
For many centuries.
Hundreds of years we were civilizing these Africans, these Hamites, while we were on their land. We were not the same people. Keep reading.
The Hebrews had to employ great physical and psychological initiative.
We had to employ great psychological, we had to maintain our discipline, which is what Commander GEN.YAHANNA teaches us in the UPK, our discipline, our physical. We had to keep up our strength because these people were attacking us. We had to keep up our power, our mental stability, to maintain our culture, to not be swallowed up by the nations around us as our entire race runs for its life for hundreds of years. Keep going.
They could not afford to be complacent.
We couldn't afford to be complacent because this was not our rest. Here in America, we got complacent. We stopped being physically and psychologically strong and equipped. That's what weed is to do, to make us weak and soft and docile. That's what Percocets and Xanax, that's what integration is for. That's what your voting and your marches is for. To make you soft, to make you assimilate, to make you throw away your culture, to have you not give a damn about the fact that your nationality matters, that we're the children of God. None of that matters as long as we can integrate. And while integrating, we're still being hated and killed.
Right.
Keep going.
Or apathetic.
Or apathetic. We couldn't have apathy. Keep going.
They were hated.
They were what?
They were hated.
While we lived in Africa, what?
They were hated.
While we lived amongst the Sudanese, what?
They were hated.
While we lived amongst the Nigerians, what?
They were hated.
In Gabon and Senegal and Gambia, what?
They were hated.
In West Africa, what?
They were hated.
On the east coast of Africa, what?
They were hated.
We were hated. They didn't love us then. They don't love us now. This is historical records, man. They said we were hated. Keep going.
So apathy could mean cultural stagnation or death.
If you became apathetic, that meant that your culture would cease to thrive, and your people would die. Why? Because we were hated. Let's get the definition of the word apathy, just to make this clear. Let's get the definition of apathy. You understand? Another one of our books, the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. That's what we live here. That's what we use in the I.S.U.P.K. The Zondervan's Bible Dictionary and the Merriam-Webster Dictionary. You understand? Apathy is the feeling of not having much emotional interest, an apathetic state, lack of feeling or emotion, drug abuse leading to apathy and depression, lack of interest or concern. Meaning if you got lazy and you got soft and you got high, you would stop caring about maintaining your black culture,
Right.
maintaining your Jew culture, maintaining God's laws, statutes, and commandments, maintaining not being a homosexual, not having interracial marriages, not taking the culture of the other nations of people, not joining them thinking we're all the same.
Right.
If you did not maintain your discipline and your warrior spirit, these people would kill you. They would swallow your people up because you would be soft and weak and think, we are the world. Rainbow Coalition. Like they teach you in church, like Al Sharpton and the civil rights leaders teach you, you would have done that, and they would have done to us in Africa what America has done to us now. Absolutely destroyed our people because you became apathetic, because you could get high and join Snowflake and Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty, and you don't give a damn about your culture anymore. That's in the past. Why does it matter? That's old. It's 2019. Until you go and get a Amber Geiger and you have sex with Snowflake and you break up and she comes downstairs and shoots you dead in your living room, or you forget about the fact that we were hated and then you go and get, you know, your girlfriend in the white gated community, and George Zimmerman murders your black son. Why? Because we were hated. We were always hated. That's why the Lord told you, don't join in other people. They've used you. You don't realize that. That's why it matters what race Jesus Christ is.
Nobody tell you crack. You know why? Because I never saw you before. But you a black man like me. And it works out.
My whole life was trying to find something to follow. Had loyalty, every man tried to borrow. Felt pain and a lot of sorrow. Got betrayed, so packed, I didn't even have my heart broke. Living confused, about to lose hope. Cops got me on the side of the road like a sideshow. Need an antidote before I croak. Now I'm setting fire to rhythm man blues, call this guitar smoke. Rebel with no cause, trying to find direction. The world got me vexed. Picked up a bad liquor habit that's hereditary from oppression. Felt like my life was on fire, trying to find an exit. Now look, 10 G's plus a good record. Sometimes a follower is a soldier, trying to find a good shepherd. Plus when you in hell, how do you excel? Wisdom the breath of life, I don't believe in fairy tale. Listen well to what I tell. No calling can cause pain, something that a rebel knows very well. Can't you tell I was sent from the Lord? Got a tongue like a two-edged sword.